Hey, Dean.
Oh, hey, Greg, what's up, man?
You here for the audition?
You're auditioning too?
Yeah, the 9.5 Weeks remake.
Yeah, I'm auditioning for the Mickey Rourke part.
Oh, I'm reading for the Kim Basinger role.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You want to rehearse? I got the honey.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
So yeah.
It's ridiculous, and most people know it.
But who in his right mind suggested this in the first place?
Either way, this thing is in serious trouble.
You could actually not even write a show that would have this as a script because everyone would say this is not believable. And that's the problem. He's not prepared to do whatever it takes.
Hi, I'm Greg Gutfeld. Thanks for not watching Arena Football. Tonight's topic, losers. So last week, we witnessed a brutal crime in Charleston. We've talked a lot about it on The Five and elsewhere. So I figured tonight we stick to less gut-wrenching stuff. So, ISIS. Yep, you know it's bad when your lighter fare is ISIS. But there is news. The feds in New York have arrested at least 4 suspected terrorists, some wanting to fight with ISIS abroad, one Googling on how to make a bomb, and sniffing around the George Washington Bridge. They're all between the ages of 17 and 21. More arrests are coming. So I have this theory. Losers are dangerous. Consider all the perks that come with joining ISIS. They match the desires of tools who have no life. If you're an uneducated, bitter rube in an extremist hell, what do? Do you pick a job selling fruit or join the revolution? One that promises to fulfill every dark desire you fantasize about in your underwear. And then when you die, you're off to pervert heaven as a sex-mad hero. It's win-win with sin for the bottom of the bin. But it's a biological ruse. It's a trick played on young men who will risk everything and anything for infamy. And so as more terror arrests are made here, I gotta wonder, are we losing this war? And by this war, I mean the propaganda war. How do we fight the promise of ISIS? ISIS is turning heads as fast as they cut them off, and they're winning, probably because we're losing, by not offering a convincing rebuttal. Maybe we don't know how. You have to embrace our values before you can exalt them. Sadly, our leaders are more decisive about Celsius than ISIS, and that emboldens heathens. But to fight evil, you have to believe, first, that you are good. For as long as there is no will, there is no way, and all roads lead to hell, as hell inevitably will beat a path to us.
Period.
Well, he could strangle you with his eyebrow and then make a cage out of your skull. It's Mike Baker, former CIA operative and diligence president. And she's only here because she threw up in the cab on the way home from a bar. It's Joanne Nosuchinsky. All right, Mike.
All right.
I'm very, very depressed over ISIS because I feel like, how do you match blood, treasure, sex, and adventure when all we're saying is, that's wrong?
Right. Yeah, it's not good. Don't do it. Say no to ISIS.
Is there a propaganda plan in place?
Well, yeah, there are several different strategies that are out there right now. The White House instituted a peer-to-peer campaign to try to get young people, the millennials, to create strategies for combating on social media the ISIS influence.
Right.
We have to be a little bit careful because this thing is building up into a myth about how fantastic ISIS is on social media. Oh, my, they're wizards at social media. Well, no, they're not.
They friended me.
They friended you?
Yes, they did. I turned it down.
Is that like 2
And
friends?
I blocked them on Twitter.
Okay, 2 friends now? 3
Yes.
friends? I mean, that's nice.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But the point being is, if we really want to defeat them, yes, we have to work on several levels, right? We have to worry about the social media. That's true. But we also have to worry about the communities that are here in America where they're trying to reach for those recruits. We have to work closer with those communities. We have to do a better job at community policing. We have to do a better job at outreach, bringing those people in. And then, most importantly, we have to take away their territory.
Yeah.
Right? The reason they're being successful with social media is the fact that they've got this territory, this caliphate that they've been jonesing about.
You know what I love is, like you say, outreach when you really mean spying. Just say you're going to spy on it. That's okay with me. Spy. I like to be spied on. By the way, Mike, our propaganda, I've noticed, is to say that they aren't winning or they're not all, like President Obama says, they're not all that. It's the same strategy you use when you get dumped.
Right.
It's like, you know what? Guy's a jerk. That girl's a jerk.
Yeah, they're not all that. But you're right. President Obama has been saying for a while now, he says, look, they're not the true Muslims. Well, actually, you know what? They think they are. They actually, so it doesn't matter what the president of the White House likes to say, and like they're not really part of Islam. They believe they're following the true path. But the point being, as long as they've got this physical manifestation of a caliphate, they will have success in this whole thing. And so what we have to do is we have to get serious. We don't have a strategy for defeating them. The State Department the other day talked about this is a 3 to 5 year effort. The Pentagon talks about how difficult this is going to be in a long-term game. Well, of course it is when your strategy is stalemate rather than victory.
My solution is that we declare a caliphate. Why not? Why can't we go over there, declare a caliphate? Joanne, you're lonely. Have you considered joining ISIS or some kind of terrorist group?
I try to stay away from the bad boys, Greg.
Yes.
And my relationship to this country is too good. I'm not going to cheat.
Yes. Oh, that's nice.
But that's our problem. We don't have a good sense of nationalism here in this country. We have these young men who are pledging their allegiance to ISIS when they won't even stand for the pledge the flag in a classroom. It's like pulling teeth to do that.
Can you even do that now? Do schools still do the morning Pledge of Allegiance every morning?
I have to admire that was an amazing Fox News phrase. Yeah. They're joining ISIS, but they won't stand for the flag. That was pretty good.
You're welcome.
Yes, that is. Mike, before I move on to the next topic.
Right.
What if...
There's more than one topic?
Will they stop acting crazy if they win?
No.
Okay, I just want to know. I just want to know if this whole craziness thing is a tactic to scare the hell out of people, and then once they get their caliphate, all of a sudden, hey, everybody's okay.
No, by definition, the caliphate is world domination. So they're not going to stop until they get
it. It was a dumb question.
Well,
I asked dumb questions here. I asked dumb questions so America doesn't have to. All right, the cyber attack on the Office of Personnel Management, which is basically the HR department for federal workers. Millions of Americans had all their info stolen. It's being called the Pearl Harbor of cyber attacks, I guess because the 9/11 of cyber attacks was already trademarked. So, of course, they called a hearing and brought in the head of the joint to answer some questions. It'll make your head implode, then explode, simultaneously, perhaps. Who knows?
Why wasn't this information encrypted?
The encryption is one of the many tools that systems can use. I'll look to my colleagues at DHS for their response.
No, I want to know from you why the information wasn't encrypted.
Data information encryption is a valuable...
yeah, it's valuable. Why wasn't it?
And is an industry best practice.
It's like she's reading. Wow. She worked at a call center at the bank, and she has to read all the checks, like when you press 1, or she's or the specials at Applebee's. I've been there before. All right, Mike. Yeah. You have to be worried because you were in the CIA, so all of your information is out there, correct?
Right.
The people you've killed, the people that you've slept with, Carrot Top, a ferret, RuPaul. You've been with all of them.
Carrot Top's a friend of mine. Don't bring him into this mess.
But you've got to be worried.
Yeah, I am worried, and I'll tell you why. It's because when they came out originally and said 4 million or so records, we knew that was lowballing it. Yeah. It could be upwards of 14 million, depending on who you talk to. And the information that's gathered here, and obviously we're saying the Chinese did it. The Chinese aren't necessarily denying in the strong way. But the problem is they've collected not just names and social security numbers, like what we tend to think of when there's a hack.
Yes.
Right. This is information off of things called SF-88s.
Right.
Which are personnel forms that go for 100 pages or so, or 120 pages, and it has all sorts of information in there, including your foreign contacts overseas. It's what you fill out when you go for a background clearance for a classified job.
I understand this completely. It means that all the stuff... Okay, you know what it is? It's the private information you volunteered to the government under the assumptions that they were going to protect it. It's like a shrink. You go to a shrink and he leaves the files out on the street. That's what happened, Joanne. What are you hiding?
A lot of things.
Yes.
But thankfully, no one really cares about my background, just my front ground.
That's so true. By the way, if you had any scandal, no man would care at a bar.
Oh, heck no.
No, in fact, if you were possibly the worst person on the planet, you would still go home with somebody.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make that clear. All right, let's...
No shame.
I was just going to say
Quickly.
The problem with this issue
Yes.
is that the Chinese are doing what we do, what every other nation in the best interest does. Gathers information for its own national security, but the information they've gathered now helps them target potential recruits.
Of course.
We can't.
You could be recruited, Mike, because no, they have your information.
No.
They have your information. They could recruit you, Mike. They're going to go, okay, you were married to Ruth Buzzy and Marty Allen.
Well, there it's true.
And now that we know this, and it's true, I want to bring in the liberal panel because I bet he thinks that President Obama is doing a great job with ISIS, and this breach is no big deal, right, liberal panel?
No, I think Obama's doing too much to fight ISIS.
Really?
Yeah. First of all, let them handle it over there. The only reason Saudi Arabia and Jordan and all these countries don't attack is because they're waiting for us. And then we go over there and kill ISIS, and then a new worse ISIS comes out. Let's get the hell out of there. And I'm not really afraid of the ISIS operatives here, Greg. They're not exactly Carlos the Jackal.
Yeah, actually, you know what?
He Googled how to make a bomb on Google.
Yes. You've actually convinced me a little bit. I agree that there should be more input from the other nations.
Yeah, all the input.
Yes.
They can bleed their blood. I don't know why we've been trying to bring democracy over there for the last 30 whatever years, but it ain't going to work. Let them do it.
You know, the liberal wall has a point there.
What point was that?
Let them do it.
It's a
We
splinter.
can handle the community college operatives.
Yes.
It's not hard.
All right, I gave you credit. You had a splinter of a point. All right, time to go to our op-ed. She's our very own social justice warrior with oversized cartoon glasses. Katherine Timpf, what's the gist so far?
Well, I'm very happy right now just sitting here judging all you guys so I don't have to think about what's lacking in my own life. You know, it's great. So you understand why people would join ISIS?
Well, no, I didn't say that. I could see people joining ISIS if they're losers.
If they're losers, yeah. I think that we do need to do something about their brand. I think we should be calling them losers a little bit more rather than dangerous. What else do we do? How do we combat treasure and blood? I don't know. I mean, treasure and blood are everyone's favorite.
It's weird, isn't it?
I guess.
All right.
I do other stuff with my time generally.
That's true. None of it interesting, so I'm going to leave you alone. All right, coming up, more presidential candidates enter the race. If you leave now, Mike Baker will choke me with his left eyelid. It's possible. And so, all of comedy rejoiced. Finally, another rich white Republican we can make fun of.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I beat China all the time. Nobody would be tougher on ISIS than Donald Trump. I don't need anybody's money. I'm really rich.
And boy, did our sacred comedians lick their lockstep chops. It was glorious.
I am officially running for President of the United States.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm just really happy right now.
I get it. See, these poor souls have been stuck for years in the joke desert with President Obama. Sure, they had Republicans to jeer all day long, but as long as Obama's on the main stage, it's a chastity belt on your funny bone. So what a release when that belt came off, unfolding an orgy of mockery. Way fun, but too easy. For a Trump joke is one step above a comic asking audience members where they're from. Plus, those laughing the loudest at Trump treat Bernie Sanders with saintly reverence. A socialist from Vermont. Yeah, Trump could be a blowhard, but he builds things. Sanders is a socialist, which tears things apart. Socialism is the flesh-eating virus of ideology. No one ever recovers. And at least Trump is playing Trump. Unlike Hillary, who is now a woman of the people, she's channeling Occupy Wall Street. Perhaps Hillary's learned from Rachel Dolezal, that pretend black lady, by now pretending to be Bernie Sanders. But the real difference between Trump and the rest of the world, he's not playing any victim card. He's only playing the Trump card, which is kind of refreshing. But his speech, let's be honest, it's like how you pack a suitcase an hour before a 5 a.m. flight. There was some great stuff in there, but nothing's in order, and some of it, well, it shouldn't be in there.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Thank God he added some are good people. That saved it. All right.
Period.
Well, he's outspoken, outrageous, and out of last chances. It's Gavin McInnes, writer for TalkingMag.com and StreetCarnage.com. Gavin, I have you here because you remind me of Trump, but with bed bugs and scabies. You started businesses, you got rich, and then you keep selling businesses. How do you feel about Trump? I bet you agree with him on some of the things, I would assume.
The only thing that bothers me about Trump is that everyone is assuming that anything he says is funny or outrageous. He just said a bunch of hate facts.
Yeah.
The crime rate with illegals is through the roof, and Ann Coulter explores this in depth in her book, Adios America. What is so funny? The guy should be revered, and this happened to us. Remember on Red Eye? We were saying that he wanted to do a presidential debate at the last election, and we were laughing and saying he just wants to show off. And then Breitbart goes, so? What's the matter with him showing off? He made a ton of money. He's an awesome guy.
Yeah. But, I mean, that last comment does not help the Republican Party when you say rapists, and I assume some of them are good.
Well, sorry, but there's a lot of data to back that up. See, people who laugh and mock people like that, it's beholden upon you to prove that the statement is false.
That's a fair point, but you have to prove that it's true.
I can prove that it's true. Ann Coulter just wrote a book this thick about it.
But you can't just say that's not proof. You have to point to the page.
Okay, 50% of murders in Texas have been linked to illegal aliens in the year 2013, I believe.
All right, well, that's a fact, I guess. I haven't read the book.
I haven't seen the facts myself, but here's my problem with Donald Trump. Hey, okay, I'm glad that we have diversity in the mix. I think it's fantastic that the Republican Party has all these various candidates. I don't necessarily take him very seriously. I appreciate that he believes in the American dream. I think that's great. But when he makes these comments, when he says things like, yeah, rapists, the criminals, all this, what it does is it gives the other side the ammunition to paint the entire party with that. And they will, and they are.
They already are doing it.
But I'm sick of this whole gives them ammunition and you have a target on your back and Media Matters is going to be mad. When did we become such wimps?
No.
Let's laugh in their face, say hate facts, get arrogant.
It's you're supposed to be persuasive in your arguments, and he could be persuasive. That didn't help. Look, here I have a theory here, and then I want to go to Joanne and the liberal liberal panel. He attacks every idea with passion, but then he moves on to another position that sometimes contradicts it. He has the qualities of a newbie who just discovered a side, and so everything is a diatribe. Everything is like passion, 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 which we love. Joanne, would you sleep or vote for Trump?
Oh, those are the only two options
Yes,
I have. I would actually like to work for him. There's a rumor going around that he hired actors to be there for his announcement and cheer. And to that I say, I support a candidate who supports the arts.
Yeah.
Well done.
And to be fair, she could sleep and vote for him.
Yes, that's true. That's true. By the way, that was a very sexist question on my part. I could have asked Gavin or Mike Baker if they would have slept with Trump.
Go ahead, Gavin.
Or actually,
Gavin, would
It'd be
you?
a lot less painful to vote for him.
I would also ask the liberal panel if he would sleep with Trump. But instead, I bet you want him to win the nomination, right? Because it would give you so much fodder.
No.
No?
I want Gavin McInnes to be nominated. That's my first choice.
Great. Why?
Yeah, I will settle for Trump.
Yes.
Gavin's going to give us way more ammunition than Donald Trump. But I'll take a dumb Trump. That's fine.
Yeah.
I also love this idea that people are great because they have money. Like when I see a sack of excrement, everybody goes, oh, he made a lot of money. Oh, I guess I'm wrong. He has money.
Why don't you try it, liberal panel? Just try it and get back to us.
Did you know Gavin was the first hipster? And if you stab a stake in his heart, most of Williamsburg will turn to dust? I vote Gavin McInnes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He started Vice.
Yeah, that was one of many companies, and it's hard. 12 go under for every one that it's successful. So we need to revere these entrepreneurs as much as we need to venerate housewives.
Yeah. I'm with that. Amen with that. I just still say that the things that Trump says cause problems all the way across the party.
All right.
I'm waiting for an example of him being wrong.
If he pulls our leg again, it's on us. That's what I say. If he's only joking. Coming up, will Joanne Nosuchinsky go outside and make a fool of herself? How is it possible to tell the difference? Score. But first, what's Brian Williams got planned for his big return to TV? I don't know. I'll ask him when I get home. There he is. Why? Welcome back. Now it's time for a new segment titled Call It a Day. Yes, it's time to call it a day. I'm talking to you, Rachel Dolezal. Just 9 days ago, I didn't know your name, where you lived, what you did, or what degree of spray tan you used. And I have to admit, life was good. You talked to Matt Lauer, that's fine. He's bald. Megyn Kelly talked to the white people that raised you, that's fine too. But now it's getting weird. Now Maury Povich wants all of you to come on his show and do a paternity test thing. And frankly, when I heard that, I thought, Maury Povich, he's alive. So, Rachel, it's been nice knowing you, but I want my life back, and it's time for you to call it a day. Speaking of identity theft, Brian Williams is back in something we like to call time served. Yes. After 6 months in NBC purgatory, Brian Williams is back on our flat screens and into our hearts. I miss you to pieces, Brian. Congratulations on your new role as breaking news anchor on MSNBC. Breaking news anchor on MSNBC. That's like being the tour guide on the Hindenburg. Sorry, Brian, I don't think you're getting the Shep deck. You're just getting time served. Joining me now, the poor man's Brian Williams. It's Tom Shillue. He's the brand new host of a show called Red Eye, which I've never heard of. Although I hear that it's gone downhill until after their first host left. I can't remember his name. Tom, I sense that you feel bad for Brian Williams.
I do.
Why?
We gave him a lot of grief, and he was in war areas, okay? Maybe he wasn't on the battlefield.
Yes.
But I exaggerate. I mean, if I see someone, get pushed on the subway,
yes,
I'll throw myself into that. I'll come into work and I'll say, hey, I got roughed up on the subway by a couple of ne'er-do-wells.
Yes, and you will say ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah, exactly.
Which nobody knows what that is, and why isn't there an V in that word? You know what? You're right, though. Human beings by nature can't help but add like a layer to a story when they don't even need to.
Yes.
You know?
So we all exaggerate, and he did as well, and, so we call him on it. And if we say, oh, you weren't really in that helicopter, he should have just said, yeah, I guess I wasn't. Well, I gotta, hey, everybody chill out. And now the news. Like, forget about it. Like, to me, it was much ado about nothing. And people said, oh, but he's a newsman. He's a newsman. It's so different. It's like, why? Why do we put these idiots on a pedestal anyway? He's just a jerk like you and me.
Yeah. The other thing, though, I think, Gavin, what's that German phrase that everybody uses?
Schadenfreude?
Yes, exactly. I'm so glad we're on the same page. I would have said something else. By the way, it's Schadenfreude because he was pompous and he relished the limelight, and he was also into the perks. And I think people don't like people who are into the perks as opposed to the performance.
Yeah.
Celebrity. He was bitten by the celebrity bug.
Well, he wanted to be Jon Stewart. He wanted to do the Daily Show. But, Tom, when you exaggerate a story in the subway, which I don't condone, by the way, you better not have been lying to me about subway fights, but your job isn't subway fight guy telling America what happens on subways. That was his job.
Well, I like it because anything that demeans the old-fashioned anchor who we went to bed with every night, I think that's good because I thought that was a lot of hooey anyway, even when it was Walter Cronkite.
Watch your language, hooey.
Oh, that's going to have to get bleeped out.
Yeah,
there's a self-righteousness to the whole thing that causes anybody in that position, that type of job, trouble. But to throw a statistic out, because they told me before the show that you like statistics.
I do.
I should throw one out. Is it 75% or slightly above of all resumes and CVs have some padding in them, have some inaccuracy in there? So you think about that. Countrywide.
Yeah, that was a lot of
I have a statistic.
Thank you very much. That's what I was hoping for.
94% of viewers don't really care that he's gone or back. I think it's really interesting, though, in his interview, he said the time away has been torture.
Yes.
Can you watch your verbiage? Like, watch the words you are using. You're going to use the word torture about the time that you have been gone. Got to be a little careful.
Well, he was referencing the time he worked in an interrogation center, I think, as a
he's going to MSNBC, which is like Media Siberia, or like, no, it's like the Media Rubber Room, where they send teachers in New York who can't be around. They send them to MSNBC. I want to bring you the liberal panel, because you got to be thrilled that Brian Williams is going to your favorite network.
Oh, well, I'm a big fan of his daughter on Girls, and I felt bad for him. And I felt like maybe he told those lies to deal with the fact he had to watch his daughter,
It's actually I hate to agree, but that must have been worse because they put his daughter and girls through really ridiculous things.
Well, that's when I knew he was a liar.
Not that ridiculous.
Because he told the press, he said, yeah, I had no problem with that.
Yeah, but you know what? You're right. He said he watched that show with his daughter, and I didn't believe him.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah?
Can I tell you something? He'd have done a lot better job interviewing Rachel Dolezal than Matt Lauer did. That was a real Frost Nixon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How did she take Matt Lauer down? That's incredible. I colored myself with the brown crayon. Really? Did you color your face? What are you talking about?
Did the panel, does the panel know that you called an end to talking about Rachel?
Tom, look in my eyes. Look into my eyes.
May I just make one point about the whole Dolezal story as you introed it?
Right.
I guess next to you, I'm the oldest person here. I had a crush on Susan Day when she was in the Partridge Family.
Well, that's good
She's
for you.
Gorgeous. Absolutely
really was.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for calling.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Again, your statistics suck. Catherine, anything
Tom,
you
do you
want
wanna
to
jump in and
address
help
before
me?
we move on?
Yeah, Tom said he felt bad for Brian Williams because he exaggerates too. No, you don't. You feel bad because Brian Williams is a straight white male. You are also a straight white male. And you felt bad because it was threatening the system of power where you guys have rule over people like me.
Yeah, you're right. I identify with my people.
Yeah, that's true. MSNBC should have him host a show called Tall Tales, and he reenacts anecdotes with exaggeration. Like let's say he's doing like.
Give him another job. Yeah. Another straight white male needs yet another opportunity.
Oh, spoken from an attractive blonde white woman who's been suppressed all these years.
I'm a female, which is very, very hard and oppressive. You just did it. You just man-interrupted me when I was trying to speak.
Yeah, I did. You man-interrupted.
I'm going to man-spread here, certainly.
All right. Let's cut the lady off. I will never have a Brian Williams problem because no one takes me seriously as a journalist. That's the secret to happiness. Be a fool. Up next, Joanne tries to make Father's Day interesting. She fails. Stick around or I'll shave off Gavin's chest hair and mail it to your grandmother. He's got lots. So I hope you fathers are enjoying your day today and that handy Home Depot gift card, which cannot be used to purchase pornography. But remember, today isn't all about what your family gives you. It's about what you give them. So earlier today, and definitely not earlier this week, trust me, I sent our own Joanne Nosuchinsky out to find out what makes Dad so special. None of them hit on her.
Thanks, Greg. You know what's cool? Dad stuff. And what's even better? Watching dads do dad stuff. Let's do this. I can't open it. Can you open it for me? Yes! So strong. Thanks, Dad. I actually have a math equation, and I was hoping you could help me, okay? At a party, everyone shook hands with everybody else. There were 66 handshakes. How many people were at the party?
33.
I mean, I don't know if that's right. You're the dad, so. Thanks, Dad. Could you tie my shoe for me?
Tie it for you.
Yes, please.
Of course.
Do you do the bunny technique or
Do it just like this.
around the tree, bunny through the loop?
form.
Perfect. You're going to be a great dad. How many kids do you have?
Twin boys.
Stop it. Do you have pictures?
Yeah, sure. Of course. What kind of a father would I be?
You would be an awful father if you didn't have pictures.
Check this out.
Oh my God! You did. So you wanted kids?
Yes.
Oh, I can't. Are these your children?
Oh, yeah.
Which
My boys.
Which one do you like better?
Depends on which day.
Good
It also
answer.
depends if my mother's going to see this.
I was hoping we
Yes.
could play a little catch.
Absolutely.
You ready?
Me and you?
Yeah. Yeah. This is great, Dad.
Dad, got it. Go high.
What about an end zone dance? An end zone dance.
Yeah.
I think I got it. Dads are really great at telling stories and reading them to children who can't. This book has a lot of big words in it. The Joy of Hate. Yeah, it's a little wordy, so you need a dad to read it. I was wondering if you could read a passage for me.
I'm sure Fluke is a nice lady. I just have a quarrel with the entitlement mindset.
Yeah.
And remember, she's only 30. This one doesn't have all of the expletives of the paragraphs that preceded, so I could see where you're going with this.
Just like Dad, making sure he doesn't curse in front of the kids.
I know Jon Stewart figuratively. Before the world did. Everyone around me was pleasant. Usually, I'm not going to read.
Oh,
What is this, a joke?
Oh, it's not a joke, sir. I'm sorry. So what did we learn? Oh, dads are really great at solving math problems, tying shoes, playing catch, and opening jars of peanut butter, and hating Greg's book. I can't blame them. Thanks, dads.
So as usual, Joanne, we've learned nothing of importance from your report, but we've got a bunch of fathers here. I think everyone here but me is a father. Gavin, wait, who has the most kids?
La, la, la.
How many kids do you have, Mike?
4.
How many do you have?
3.
2.
Winner!
And none, and I have -7. Yes. That sounds disgusting, -7 children. All right, I'm going to go to you, Gavin. Do you enjoy all the dad stuff, Father's Day?
Can't get enough. In fact, the only time I'm jealous of people is when they have more kids than me.
Really?
Oh, 4? Damn, I wish I had 4.
Really?
Yeah.
You know,
2 is, I mean, that's pathetic.
What do you do with your time, Tom?
All you did was continue the human race the same amount. You need 1 more at least.
You told me once you have more, then it gets easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Better, funner. Okay. The other day, my youngest 2-year-old introduced himself to a bird and said, "Hi, birdie, I'm Johnny." Like they're going to be friends now. That happens every 8 seconds.
Yeah. So your child is stupid.
He's actually 2 weeks old.
So he's brilliant.
Mike, you have 4 kids.
Yeah.
They're all boys, right?
A daughter who's in college and 3 little boys, 3 young little boys.
Yeah. Do you think it's fair that you guys have Father's Day and I'm childless and I don't have, like, there should be a day for people like me, childless, aging men who prefer, you know, wine over whiners.
Yeah, it's called the weekend, Greg. Yeah.
Greg, you really got to get moving. All this is meaningless. When you die, this will all fade to dust in the wind. The only legacy that matters is offspring, and I don't know why New Yorkers don't care more about it. This is all fairy dust.
But no, it's good fairy dust. It's nice.
Yeah, you know,
right. Then it's gone.
My kids are my books, Gavin. While I'll be dead, my books will be in the library, and that's all I care about. Plus, I don't have to feed the books. And the books don't smell up the bathroom. But okay, before we go, it's time once again for Hard Evidence. That's our series examining one of the most notorious cases of all time. It's about a troubled man named Trevor. They're always Trevor. In a tale that involved murder, mayhem, shadowy government figures, cover-ups, and danger at every turn. Here's the second installment of our 52-part series.
July 20th, 1969. Trevor and 600 million others watch as Apollo 11 makes history. Or did it? The next day, Trevor calls the New York Times, claiming he has proof that the world had been duped. The paper ignored him. The government did not.
Look, everybody knows that Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. What this case asks you to consider is, maybe he didn't.
Overnight, Trevor became the CIA's #1 target.
We needed somebody who could track it. That's why we hired the Seeker.
The Seeker, the government's ultimate weapon for finding stuff, like things and other stuff. Trevor could run, but he couldn't hide. The chase went on for years.
It was your typical game of cat and mouse until the dog arrived.
Did the dog get his bone? And would the world ever be the same?
Mike, that was terrifying. I had no idea you were involved.
I had no idea you had that footage.
Can you tell us anything about the case?
Well, parts of it have been declassified because of a FOIA request.
Okay.
So we can talk about that part. Other parts have not, so we can't talk about those parts.
Well, thanks for making it boring.
Sure, yeah.
Yes.
It's the least I could do.
Again, every time you try to come up with something interesting, it puts everybody to sleep. You're like a walking Ambien.
Did I tell you about my crush on Susan Day?
Yes, you did. That's the second time that you bored me.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Why is he here? All right. We'll have to wait till the next installment. Time to take a break. Up next, Katherine Timpf tells us how we did. Time to find out how we did tonight. For that, we go to our op-ed, Katherine Timpf. Kat, I know I nailed it again, so can you skip me and just go right to the miserable guests? That's fine.
Well, I'm going to go to Mike first because it was really alarming. You would just not stop bro-plementing Susan Day. Bro-plementing is, of course, when you compliment a woman without asking for her explicit consent first.
Thank you.
Yes, you have to ask, do you consent to me complimenting you beforehand, or else it's kind of like assault.
So if I say you look, if I say you look
yeah.
lovely this evening.
So Gavin,
You just attacked her.
You just bro-plemented. I can't. Ugh. It's not a safe space. The show is not a safe space. Gavin, not only did you say illegal immigrants a bunch of times, you also said Ann Coulter's name twice without a trigger warning. So
It's funny you say that because both you and Ann are 7.9s.
Yeah, don't ever do that.
What are the odds?
Joanne, the answer to the party question is 132. Also, you said you were going to go watch people do dad stuff.
Yeah.
So you're suggesting that there's stuff only dads can do?
Oh, no.
Come on, girl.
There were
Don't
a
be
lot of other
sexist
things.
against yourself.
We edited it.
You edited it?
They edit out all the nice stuff.
Yeah. Well, Tom, you said you have 2 kids. You had 2 kids?
Yeah, 2 daughters.
So you had 2 kids all on your own, huh? Gonna discount the role that a woman played?
Wow.
Typical. And Greg, it was sexist to ask Joanne, and only Joanne, if she would sleep with Donald Trump. It was also heteronormative to do that.
Can you explain how that is heteronormative? The assumption.
Because you're saying that only a heterosexual situation would be possible. It's very typical. It's ingrained in our society. And I'm very smart, and I'm here to educate people who aren't as smart and sympathetic as I am.
She's almost as angry as the liberal panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typical to call a woman angry. You know, if a guy does it, it's
you're right.
one thing, but if a woman does it, it's not acceptable. Thanks, everyone. I just hope you're a little smarter after my insight.
Well, I'm sure we'll try our best to please you because you are the fairer sex.
I have the right answers.
All right, go away. Time to take a break. More stuff when we come back. But first, what are our guests going home with tonight, Linus?
Tonight's guests will receive a broken VCR. Remember, it's only broken until you fix it, which shouldn't be that difficult if you know how. Congratulations, guests.
Finally, tonight, as many of you may know, I hosted the late-night program Red Eye here on FNC from February 2007 to February of this year. But tomorrow night, Tom Shillue officially takes over as the new permanent host. I'm sure he'll be awesome, but I thought I'd send him off with a few tips I learned during those 8 years. Here are my top 5. First, make as many inflammatory comments as possible, usually about race or gender. People love this, and it will get the show lots of attention. Second, if a crazy person wants to come on the show, definitely book him or her. The more conspiracy theories he's into, the better. And if they write to you personally, then surely invite them on. If they write on the outside of the envelope in 3 kinds of colored pencil, then he's a star. Third, poke fun of other countries and cultures like you would a sibling. They may get upset, but they'll know it comes from a place of love. Fourth, don't bother with hair and makeup. People tune in to see the real you, so give them what they want, acne and everything. Finally, try to insert a lot of inside jokes that the audience won't get. It won't be funny to them, but to you and the panel, it'll be hilarious. So true. What changes do you have in store, Tom, for tomorrow?
Change? What? I'm supposed to... You told me not to do any preparation, Greg.
I know. I said that would be easier.
Listen, you sat me down and you said, this is the way television works. You show up 5 minutes before taping. You read what's in the prompter. And then, you know, the cards fall where they may.
Who are your guests for a Monday night, jerk?
We have Jeff Ross is coming on.
Oh, wait. He didn't do... Wait. He would always turn me down.
Jeff Ross! Hey, listen, I did my work in the comedy clubs, and I've been schmoozing him for years. So I thought, let's get a big guest on the first day. We got Jeff Ross. He's doing a show live in prisons where he roasts the prisoners.
Fantastic idea. Actually, he did do Red Eye twice with me, but his lines got stepped on by a certain guest that was on, and I think he hated it.
And Joanne will be there on Monday, even though we've lost her on Mondays and Tuesdays because you work her, you're a slave driver, and you make her work all weekend.
Yes, that's true.
We have Baker on Thursday, and Gavin's coming on soon. When are you on, Gavin?
As soon as possible. I check my email every day.
Okay. So sad. All right, well, good luck tomorrow. I'll be rooting for you in a passive-aggressive manner. Thanks to Mike Baker, Gavin McInnes, Tom Shillue, Joanne Nosuchinsky, Katherine Timpf, and the liberal panel. I'm Greg Gutfeld. Happy Father's Day, or what's left of it.
It's Doocy again.
Hey, Gutfeld! your ride is here.
This guy is driving me crazy. He just follows me around. He's stalking me. You know what he did yesterday? He stole my lunch in front of me. He went into the fridge while I was standing there, and he took my soup, and he poured it down his pants, and he said, "Hey, Greg, that's some great soup." And then he walked away. The guy is absolutely psychotic.
Hey, Gutfeld, your ride's here.
Can you go down there and get rid of him? Just tell him I'm not here.
All right, but you owe me.
Thanks, man. Oy vey.
Hey, Gutfeld, your ride's here.
I'm sorry, Mr. Doocy. Mr. Gutfeld isn't going to be able to make it this evening.
So he's not going to come out?
Not tonight.
How's he getting home?
We've made other arrangements.
You know, this cost me $10.
Oh.
$10 US.
I think I have $1.
Where'd you get that watch?
Greg, I better get a raise for this.
That's really nice. All right, great. What's your name?
Tom.
Tom. Tell Mr. Gutfeld next time I'll wear the Viking outfit because I know he digs it with Hammer. Leo Cavuto, you need a ride home?